Alright, so 4chan getting a fine from the UK government is like trying to evict raccoons with a stern letter. They don't care, they never will, and the harder you push them, the more cursed memes you're going to unleash. Let's see how bad it goes.
Penalties if 4chan does not comply. And of course, in the most amazing way that 4chan could possibly respond, they responded with a legal notice of their own. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down...
You do not want to mess with 4chan. Never mess with 4chan.
...the entire legal notice from 4chan. And we're also going to be taking a look at Ofcom's website that is all supposedly about helping children be safer online while trying to take away your rights as an adult as well on the internet, and claiming that it's for the kids, guys. It's always for the kids. So let's utilize this video to talk about this first. So good old Ofcom has actually decided that it's in their best interest to want to go after 4chan. Why this is, I have no idea. Anytime somebody tries to be the aggressor against 4chan, they almost always lose. And yet for some reason, the UK, with their brand new powers, with their brand...
The last thing you want is to unite 1,000 autists against you. You do not want to do that.
New, online safety act, they're thinking, oh, we got it, boys. We are the all-powerful. Now we have the means to go after literally everybody. Even if they are not in the UK, even if they're in the United States, we're going to go after them and try to impose fines and censorship and all this nonsense. It's a beautiful thing to witness, because what's going to happen is when people tend to push too far too quickly, well, they get felted. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's going to happen here. So we have a response from Byron Storm, attorneys at law, and it says they replied to a statement regarding Ofcom's reported provisional notice of 4chan Community Support LLC. It says Byron Storm, PC, Byron Storm, and Coleman Law, Ron Coleman, who by the way is representing SmashJT, shout out to Ron Coleman, he's involved in this, represent 4chan Community Support LLC, aka just 4chan. According to press reports, the UK Office of Communications, which is Ofcom, you could go to their website, it is literally there for anybody to see. According to Ofcom, they have issued a provisional notice under the Online Safety Act, alleging a contravention by 4chan and indicating an intention to impose a penalty of 20,000 plus daily penalties thereafter. Now,
so the UK is like, oi, 4chan, pay your license. Like, these guys are gonna transfer 20 grand from Delaware because some British bureaucrat asked them nicely.
Listen, yeah, the UK, I can't help but laugh at this, right? Because the UK thinks that they can police outside of their backyard.
Yeah,
and that's where things are going to get really interesting, right? Because it's the same thing that's happening with Collective Shout in Australia. If they were policing their own backyard, nobody would care. Let them fight their own battles down there, down under in Australia. But it's the same thing here with the UK. They think that they can fight outside of their backyard. If you want to fight this stuff and do all this censorship and this nonsense garbage in your own backyard, then you're more than welcome to, and let your citizens fight against you and fight for their rights, right? But at the end of the day, now you think that you are so all-powerful, you think that you have the means to do so, that you are now trying to reach beyond your backyard, which is going to result in an absolute felting of massive magnitude.
Are they dumb? Do they not know what happens when you mess with 4chan? Have they not done their historical research on what happens when you give a bunch of dudes, a bunch of terminally online guys from all over the world, a common enemy to rally against? You do not want to mess with 4chan. Just take the L.
I'm telling you, this is what happens when people push too far too quickly. This is what happens when they feel like, oh, they're at the finish line, we need to hurry up and get it before it's too late. This is what happens. So anyway, it goes on to say that 4chan is a United States company incorporated in Delaware with no establishment, assets, or operations in the United Kingdom. Any attempt to impose or enforce a penalty against 4chan will be resisted in U.S. federal court. American businesses do not surrender their First Amendment rights because a foreign bureaucrat sends an email. Under settled principle...
Yeah, that's the legal equipment. That's the legal equivalent of cope and seethe. Imagine trying to flex UK law in a US federal court. You're going to get laughed out the building before the judge even sits down. And 4chan will make career-destroying memes out of you. They're gonna make fun of you so much. You're going to not be able to be taken seriously anymore.
Of U.S. law, American courts will not enforce foreign penal fines or censorship codes. This is a beautiful thing. I love to see it. I really do. Now, to be fair, and I want to be very clear, they're trying to do the same thing here, okay? Obviously, these lawyers are going to be fighting for what's right in this particular scenario, but there are legislators out here, there are legal lawmakers out here in the U.S. that are advocating and trying to do the same exact thing. There was just a law...
I mean, everybody knows UK is done for when it comes to draconian laws. We know you guys there are living an Orwellian nightmare, but this is not going to be allowed to spill outside of the UK.
Law that was essentially just let go in Mississippi when it came to their own personal online safety act. If you look here at this article from NPR, it says as of August 14th, Supreme Court allows Mississippi social media law to go into effect. And how is this different from the one that went into effect in Texas that specifically requires age verification in order to access explicit material? Well, this particular one, in contrast, the Mississippi law requires all users, every single one, to verify their age before using even the most common website that are social media sites. Right?
You know, this is not just a UK problem. Lawmakers in the US are basically looking at Britain's dumpster fire and going, yeah, we'll have one of those too.
Ranging from Facebook to Nextdoor, a social media site that connects people to their nearby neighbors. In addition to the age verification rule, the Mississippi law requires social media websites to work to prevent children from accessing harmful materials and prohibits minors from using social media websites such as Instagram and YouTube without the parental consent. And again, there are companies out there like NetChoice that are fighting against this, trying to, basically claim that this is unconstitutional, which for a lot of people, they view it as such. Now, let's continue in this scenario because I just wanted to make it clear that this is absolutely trying to happen here. Don't think just because it's in the UK that you're safe from it here. You're not. They're trying to all enact this at the same time because once one domino falls, all of them are going to try to fall. So we got to stop it at some point. But anyway, it says American businesses do not surrender the First Amendment rights because a foreign bureaucrat sends them an email, and they will not uphold the penal fines or censorship codes. If necessary, we will seek appropriate relief in U.S. federal court to confirm these principles. United States federal authorities have been briefed on this matter. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, was reportedly warned by the White House to cease targeting Americans with the UK censorship codes, according to reporting in The Telegraph on July 30th. Despite these warnings, Ofcom continues its illegal campaign of harassment against American technology firms. A political solution to this matter is urgently required, and the solution must come from the highest levels of American government. We call on the Trump administration to invoke all diplomatic and...
Imagine the Prime Minister getting told by the White House to stop picking fights with 4chan. That's a sentence. That's a sentence that sounds like it belongs in an Onion article. And I have a sneaking suspicion that even Trump himself must have seen 4chan or maybe visited it.
Legal levers available to the United States to protect American companies from extraterrestrial censorship mandates. Our client reserve all rights. So this is an amazing response by Byron Storm, and it's very clear that they're prepared to fight this to the very end. Now, again, if you go over to the Ofcom website, this is what the majority of their website is talking about right now, which is about protecting children online, and they're desperately trying to convince everybody that the Online Safety Act in the UK is totally not about censorship. It's all about just protecting the kids, right? Spending time online is a part of everyday life for everyone in the UK, including children. We appreciate the value that children and families derive from using online services. I'm sure you do, and have spoken to many children and parents in coming up with the expectations we're placing on firms. We want children to be able to enjoy the benefits of being online while reassuring parents that services like websites, social media platforms, games, and apps will be more responsible than ever to make sure online spaces are safer for the children who use them. Now,
yeah, it's for the kids. Every time you hear that phrase, brace yourself, because it means adults are about to lose rights too. Nobody's failing for the "won't somebody think for the children" routine anymore,
Now, again, these parents, they must be some of the laziest parents in the world, because if you're looking towards daddy government in order to help you be a parent, well, you already failed as a parent, in my opinion. That's just...
It's called a nanny state. You do not want a nanny state.
That's what it is, right? You're going to have people out there, they're going to say, no, that's not true. Kids could get away with it anyway. And I totally understand that. Listen, we were all kids at one point. We all got away with shit that we shouldn't have been doing. But at the end of the day, chances are, if we look back at our parents, they were probably a little bit lazy. At the end of the day, the truth is that this is not going to be utilized to protect the children. It's just not. This is going to be utilized.
The way my parents did it to keep me out of trouble was to keep me busy with a ton of stuff. Like from finishing school, then I would have lunch, and then I would go to English and French classes, and then from English and French classes I would go to water polo playing, water polo practice from 7 to 11, and then the next morning wake up, school, and rinse repeat like that. And during the weekends, because my water polo team were good, we had a lot of tournaments, so I was always busy during my childhood with something, either learning English, Greek, or French, or doing water polo practice, but in a championship level.
To censor content that they deem problematic for children and adults. Children should not be accessing this content, and there is parental controls in place to ensure that they do not. If they access this content, that means they went through multiple checks and balances and were able to bypass every single one of them, including the last one, which should be their parent. The first and the last one should be their parent, but they were able to bypass it anyway. This Online Safety Act isn't going to do a goddamn thing. All the kids are going to do is steal their parents' ID, upload that to the service, and say, boom, I'm an adult, now I can access everything, and we are good to go.
You don't even need to do that. I saw kids bypassing the filters by using props inside of Steam, or using video game characters to bypass. This is hilariously bad in its implementation. I mentioned it in a previous video. I'm all for protecting the most vulnerable online, but this one was implemented so horribly that it looks and feels more like government overreach than anything.
It's not, literally nothing is going to change with this. Now, this is sincerely going to just be used to censor content. We already know this. We've already seen this happen. It is censoring content on X. It is censoring content on YouTube. It is censoring content on Steam, digital platforms. It's censoring content literally everywhere, and it's censoring it not just for kids, but also for adults. So this whole Online Safety Act thing, there's a reason why they didn't call it the Kids Online Safety Act, is because they know that this is going to affect everybody, not just children, but adults as well. And that's what they're banking on. They're banking on this affecting adults because they want to ensure that they control what you see, what you say, and what you do at any given time.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So to recap, the UK thinks that it can fine 4chan. 4chan's lawyers basically laughed in their face, and meanwhile governments everywhere are drooling over using those powers of control. If history has taught us anything, is that you can't out-censor the internet, because in the end you will just end up looking stupid while the memes against you pile up. That's it. See you on the next one.